listening to the Fun with Horror podcast with your hosts, Scotty and Andrew.
Oh, hello, Andrew.
Hi, Scotty.
And hello, everybody out there. You're listening to the Fun with Horror podcast. This is the weekly movie review podcast in which Andrew and I take turns giving each other movies to watch, and then we watch them the following week and discuss them. We have two rules and two rules only. Number one, whoever picks a movie has to pick a movie they've never seen, and number two, we both have to watch that movie. Last week, I picked the movie, right? Yeah, I picked it. I picked the 1974 holiday classic, Black Christmas.
Ooh.
Directed by Bob Clark, starring Olivia Hussey, Margot Kidder, Keir, Dullea, and John Saxon. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But, stay tuned until the end of this episode and find out, along with me, what Andrew is picking for next week. I am so pumped up.
Yeah, man.
Sorry if that was really loud.
It was a little, and I appreciated it, though. The enthusiasm was there.
Energy, enthusiasm.
Yep.
Let's go.
I felt it. It brought my energy level up. I am ready.
I don't know. I'm in a good mood today, buddy.
That's great. I'm glad. I want you to be I always want you in a good mood, man.
And right on cue, right as we begin podcasting, guess what's happening?
Is it Ziggy?
The attack of Ziggy. By the way.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No. You do think what?
I do think our friend of the podcast, Dan, was right that we need a shirt or something of Ziggy attacking you.
What if it was just a picture of Ziggy and it said "Fun with Horror" on it?
That would be amazing.
Just his face, little Ziggy's face.
People that don't know the show would be like, what an interesting thing.
I think they would love it.
Yeah.
Because then it would just be random and they just buy it because, hey, it's Fun with Horror and there's a black cat on it.
Right.
What the hey?
What the hey?
I'll have you know that Ziggy. So when I take a shower, we have the double shower curtain.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Cloth on the outside, plastic on the inside, or not plastic but nylon or whatever, waterproof. Right. Bowie, my other cat, likes to sit on the side of the tub in between the two things, and she'll I just see her tongue licking. Today, suddenly, I was taking my shower, and I was scrubbing myself thoroughly.
Thank you.
And suddenly, Bowie just gets knocked into the tub.
Oh, no.
And it was Ziggy. Good old Ziggy.
Oh, my gosh.
Is he evil or is he just dumb?
Right. Well, of the two, I mean, there's always it's like the other child or whatever that movie was, The Good Son. That was what it was.
The Good Son.
The Good Son
with Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin.
Oh man.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was okay though. Just
good.
I know you were so worried right now.
You know me.
You are nothing but worried about my cats.
That was what I was going to be thinking about all day. I was not going to do anything but worry.
I can't even record this podcast because I'm just so worried about Bowie.
We're done.
Scotty's cat. Yeah, she was fine. She kind of, she got knocked in for a second. And, I mean, the worst thing that happened is she clawed my foot a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. Luckily, I'm in the shower, and, the soap and water is cleaning it right away.
Right.
But then she jumps out, and she was just, kind of sitting there staring at Ziggy like, what are you going to do next?
Right.
It was fun. On the other hand, years ago, not years ago, but a year and a half ago, when Ziggy got knocked into the tub, boy, that was a thing.
Oh my god.
Ziggy handled it quite a bit differently.
Really?
Oh my god. It was just like this black blur. Like he was like freaking out in the tub and I was like, "Oh my goodness, Ziggy." And then he jumps out and I'm like trying to like but he was very sweet.
Aw.
He went under the bed. I was able to coax him out and dry him off and he was just like he was a very sweet cat for once.
Oh, sweet baby.
How are you, buddy?
Dude, I'm good, man. I'm really
Yeah?
good. Yeah, I got our Christmas break is coming up soon, so I'm ready.
Ooh.
I'm ready for a nice little break.
How long do you have?
Dude, we have a long time, which is pretty awesome. We have 12 days off,
Ooh.
right?
I want to work where you work.
It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. Although this next week is going to be a little hectic because it's kind of the end of year stuff, but
Okay.
it'll be worth it.
That's awesome, dude.
I know.
12 days.
I know. Which
We're going to record a podcast every day
that's right.
of those 12 days, just to let everybody know.
Well, I was thinking we'll talk more about this later, but I was like, we can pick any day to record. Really,
Yeah.
can mix it up, man.
The 12 podcasts of Christmas.
Ooh,
Oh.
that's
But we're going to watch nothing but those 99-cent Hallmark movies
obviously.
on the Lifetime channel
Yep.
because those are terrifying.
I think if this was my wife's podcast, that may be what it would be.
Does she watch those?
No, we don't have it, but I know that she would sit down and watch them.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I do have this morbid curiosity as to how bad they are.
I've seen a few.
Yeah?
You know, I was always taught if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I'll probably just.
So next.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
I met Tom Holland.
Yes. Oh, I was gonna bring it up, man. I was hoping you would bring this up. I'm so
Yeah.
excited to hear about this.
Yeah, we can finally start talking about horror here
Yeah.
instead of cats and Hallmark movies. Yeah, so not this weekend, but last weekend,
Hmm.
it was such a spontaneous thing. Friday night, I saw an advertisement for Dark Delicacies, my favorite horror store in Burbank.
Oh yeah.
And they were having this anniversary event thing. And I probably should have paid more attention to it because I think there were quite a few special guests,
Oh, cool.
but one stood out to me because you know full well that my number one, my favorite horror movie of the 1980s is Fright Night.
Yeah, dude.
And Tom Holland, the director, was going to be there. And I guess there's a reprint of the old Fright Night novelization,
Oh, cool.
which is weird. But and I'm pretty sure I read it back in the day. But yeah, he was going to be there signing it. Or if you wanted to pay a little extra money, as they do, you
Right.
could have something else signed. Unfortunately, I don't have the soundtrack on vinyl, or I would have taken it in a heartbeat.
That would have been awesome.
But I did get the book.
Yes.
I got the book, and I had him sign it, and it just says, "To Scotty, Tom Holland," and he's such a sweet man.
Nice.
Yeah, I asked him if I could, if they were allowing pictures, and his assistant said, "Tom, are you feeling up to a photo?" And Tom's like, "Yeah." And
Nice.
like it was great. He's meeting a bunch of people, but he remembers your name, and
Aw.
that was great. Like the whole time we were taking a picture, he was like, "Thank you, Scott," and I was like, "Oh wow."
That's so cool.
And I was like, I'm sorry, Mr. Holland. That's Scott from the Fun with Horror podcast. Could you say that out loud?
let me get my recording device. Hold
Let
on.
me record this. That would have been cool
That would have been cool.
to have Tom Holland record an intro.
Oh man. Someday.
So yeah, that was cool.
That's
Yeah.
so awesome.
Sunday?
Yeah. Yep. Sunday. Tom and I have lunch. I'll ask. Dude, that's so cool though. What an awesome it's so cool. It's your favorite movie of the 80s, horror movie of the That's awesome. What a cool
Yeah.
thing. I love it.
Man. It was a good time.
Black Christmas. If this movie doesn't make your skin crawl, it's on too tight.
Rated R.
Start us off, buddy.
All right, man.
Another door.
Another door.
Sorry. Last episode.
Yeah. Go listen if you haven't.
Bowie, stop.
Bowie?
Now, both of my cats are being evil.
Oh my gosh. It was the second we hit record again.
Exactly.
They know. Anywho, my man, you picked last week's movie, or this week, I should say.
This week.
This week's movie that I watched,
Yes.
that we watched last week. And that was 1974's, or as you mentioned last time, this is our oldest movie reviewed.
It is.
So far, that's great. And that was Black Christmas from 1974.
True story. I hate to say my age here, but I was 1 year old when this movie came out.
Oh, look at that. So you remember it pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my dad and my mom showed it to me on my first birthday. It was great.
That's where your affinity for horror came from, was that first
Yes.
birthday.
Black Christmas. Well, if that was true, we wouldn't be reviewing it. Or I wouldn't have picked it because
right.
I would have already seen it, and that breaks one of our rules.
Look at that.
Look at that. But I'd never seen it.
No, I know. So you picked 1974's Black Christmas, a movie neither of us had seen.
Neither of us.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
as a reminder,
Mm-hmm.
the reason I picked this movie, and I mentioned this last episode,
Mm-hmm.
but some people may have missed it. The reason I picked this movie was because every Christmas,
Yeah.
sorry, my cat is going crazy and I had to look. Every Christmas, every December comes around and I always think, hey, I really need to watch Black Christmas or Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Right.
And I never do. I just watch Krampus and then that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe Gremlins too. So thankfully, we're doing this podcast.
Woohoo.
And I decided that I was going to pick one of those movies. And a friend of the show, Edward,
Yay.
he helped me pick which two I was going to, or which of the two I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it was Black Christmas.
Yep.
And I had no idea when I picked it that it was 1974. That was crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I thought it was 1980 or late 70s maybe, but yeah, 74, that's crazy.
Well, and just the fact that it came out prior to, like, Halloween is crazy to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Very, very.
Because you always
interesting.
think of Halloween as like the first slasher.
Right.
Although I also consider Alien a slasher in a way.
Yep, I get that. Yep.
I always consider it in there.
Well, and then
because
Texas Chainsaw, I was going to say, too, I think was prior to.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you never interrupt me. You never.
I did.
Never.
Never.
Never. Yeah, you're right. Texas Chainsaw. And the funny thing is that Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Mm-hmm.
came out the exact same year as Black Christmas.
Was it 74?
Yeah, because my parents showed me that too.
Boy, what a birthday.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. That's how I sounded when I was 1 year old, by the way.
God, you're so smart, too.
Yeah, so I was thinking of old slashers,
Yeah.
and somebody online was kind enough to correct me. Not really correct me, but I was asking what some of the oldest slashers were, and I always forget Psycho.
Oh, right. Man.
And you know, a lot of people consider Psycho to be the birth of slasher movies in its own way.
I get that. Yeah, for sure. Wow.
But-
yeah.
Andrew, what did you think of Black Christmas?
Wait, you're asking me first? This is your movie.
I threw you for a loop.
I
What'd
don't
you think
like
of it? Quick,
change.
quick.
It was interesting. No. Do you really want me to answer?
Yeah.
All right. You know what? This one. So, I would have told you something different yesterday after watching it. But today, after letting it sink in like a little bit longer, I liked Black Christmas.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
But you weren't initially sold.
I wasn't. But like I said,
Interesting.
letting it sink in a little and thinking about some of the things, which we'll talk about, definitely gave me a different opinion today. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love when a movie does that to me, where I think I didn't like the movie so much and it had issues for me, but then the longer it sits with me, the longer I just sit there and think, wow, that was a good movie.
Right? Yes. But
Black Christmas was not that movie for me, though.
okay. Okay.
I loved it from the start.
Oh. That was the best segue, dude. That was beautiful.
I watched this last Sunday night
Mm-hmm.
with Mary. Well, she kind of fell asleep, but I just put it on after a double feature of Matrix movies.
Nice.
And I loved it. I wanted to record a podcast right away
Oh, man.
because I was blown away by this movie in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's without fault.
Right.
And I also wouldn't really say it's really faulting the movie. It's just dated a little bit in places.
Fair. Yep.
But man, like you though, even though I did love it the first time I saw it,
Mm-hmm.
or the first time I watched it last Sunday, the more it sat with me, the more I appreciated it.
Yeah.
So I'm totally with you there. I think I just liked it initially more than you did initially,
Yep. I think
from what it sounds like.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah.
So the crazy thing about this movie, though, and it's something I always forget, and then when I remember, it just blows my mind. This was directed by Bob Clark,
Right.
who also directed A Christmas Story and Porky's. And quick segue or quick aside,
Uh-huh.
last night, because this blows my mind, this fact, I started to watch Porky's again, and I haven't seen it in many, many years.
Awesome.
And I saw it. Like, if you watch Porky's,
Yeah.
you can see that it's the same director.
Funny, really. Okay.
I think Black Christmas may be a bit different from those two, but you can
Right.
definitely see the similarities between Porky's and A Christmas Story.
Awesome.
But this episode is not about Porky's,
It's not.
and it's not about A Christmas Story.
No.
It's about Black Christmas.
Black Christmas.
Yeah, I can't even
I
begin
know.
to tell you where to start on what I loved about this movie.
Well, before we do that, though, I will
Oh.
throw this out since we may or may not have forgotten last week to
Yeah,
give ourselves
we didn't say it.
give everyone a spoiler warning. However, it was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. A lot of people had seen that, but still,
Everybody knew the big twist.
yeah. No, you're mispronouncing. It's Big Top.
Oh,
See what I did
that
there?
was terrible.
I know that was gross.
That was bad.
I might
I
just
love
quit.
it.
I'm sorry. Oh,
Okay,
horrible.
podcast over.
Yep.
Nope, just kidding. We're going.
Yes, let's keep it going. No,
I
but
am so caffeinated, and we should probably talk about Black Christmas.
yes, but we are spoiling this movie. So if you have not seen it, just a reminder: pause the podcast, watch it, and listen. Or if you don't mind spoils, listen right now.
Yes.
There you
We
go.
are going to spoil this movie, and it's got, it's. So here's the thing: the movie has a twist, a little bit of a twist.
Yeah.
The movie is not just a horror movie, and in fact, Bob Clark, in the movie commentary,
Mm-hmm.
he even said he doesn't consider it a horror movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he considers it a thriller.
I agree.
But, and I can see that, but it is in the horror genre. It is firmly in the horror genre.
Yep.
The horror community watches this movie around
Right.
Christmas time. It may not be such a direct horror movie as Silent Night, Deadly Night, but it's definitely there, man.
Yeah, agreed.
But it is a mystery, and just to recap, it is about a sorority house
Mm-hmm.
and a bunch of girls in a sorority house, and there is somebody that starts to kill them off. And they kind of make it a mystery who that might be.
Right.
But then, spoiler, you never find out for real.
For real. Yeah.
For real.
For real.
Sorry. Scotty, settle down.
Fright Night, man.
Fright Night. Anyway, yeah, you never find out who the killer is.
True.
And I kind of love that.
I do too. And typically, you know me, where I don't like an ambiguous ending.
Mm-hmm.
It worked for me for this one.
You also sometimes don't like bleak endings, but did that work for you this time?
It did. I know.
Okay,
this
good.
one kind of broke my rules, or my my usual thought processes, I guess. Yeah. So I was fine with both of those things.
Yeah, and so she kills the movie. The way the movie is directed and presented, it kind of leaves it a mystery in which you think that Peter,
right.
Jess's boyfriend, Jess is the main character played by Olivia Hussey, who, man, she was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, she's a cutie patootie.
I was so taken with her throughout the entire movie.
And her accent was just great. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and yeah, I totally agree. And I didn't know she was going to be the main character.
I didn't either.
Who did you
I thought
tell me?
I thought it was going to be Lois Lane.
Yeah, Margot Kidder.
Margot Kidder. Right when I saw her, I was
and
like, Lois.
I think that's just because of who we're more familiar with as an actress from Superman and all.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, it probably wasn't that big a mystery that Jess was the main character.
Right.
But yeah, so Jess has a boyfriend named Peter, and man, what a storyline that was in 1974.
Oh, mama, yeah.
So Jess goes to Peter and says that she is pregnant and she's going to have an abortion.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe today in a movie that wouldn't be quite such a big deal. But man, in 1974,
yeah,
a woman strong enough to say, "Look, I'm just not ready for this in my life." And that was crazy.
Yeah,
and then
for sure.
Peter is not happy with that. So
right.
that leads to this maybe misdirection that Peter might be the killer.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, Jess is being stalked by the killer inside the sorority house. She goes down in the basement. Peter is outside and rubs the window. You think it might be the killer. He comes in and Jess shoots Peter and kills him.
Yep.
But then we find out that the killer is still alive.
Yes.
What a great movie, man.
Yeah.
There are so many effective things about this movie and things that I did not expect to creep me out as much as they did.
Ooh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, because a 1974 movie, I fully expected this to be a movie that was dated, that wasn't scary at all, is just going to be an interesting watch because this is how they made horror movies in 1974. You know, that kind of thing?
Yep.
Like you watch Friday the 13th, and I watch the first Friday the 13th and think, how was this ever scary to anybody?
Right.
But it was. And I imagine that Black Christmas was terrifying to people.
Yeah, I think so.
Man, to have the killer pretty much living in the attic of the sorority house.
Yeah.
And committing these murders and then doing it in a way where people just thought the victims were missing.
Right.
They didn't think they were dead. Well, they thought maybe they were.
Right.
But they just knew that they were missing. Claire, the first victim, and one of the most horrifying because he, with the, oh man.
Yes. Yeah. That was insane.
Yeah, that was a very creepy moment. Claire goes up into her room to get ready for a trip, and And she goes to her closet, and then as she comes out of the closet, you can see the killer behind these plastic clothing. Plastic, what do you call that?
Like the whatever you hang around your clothing to keep them nice. I don't even know what
Yeah,
they're
I'm
called.
drawing a blank on what you call it, but yeah, but you can see him behind the plastic, and Claire did not see him, and that to me was creepy.
Yep.
As anything.
Well, just seeing his eye sitting there was horrifying. Just that shot of his eye looking at her.
Yeah.
Behind it all was just disturbing.
And then after he kills her, he just takes her up into the attic.
Yeah.
And nobody checks on her or anything. They just think she's gone to bed, and the next day they think she's just gone.
Well, because she was gonna go visit her dad or whatever.
Yeah, her dad was coming to visit,
right?
And she was gonna go meet him.
Yeah.
Man, and then up to a point, the other kills were like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then where else do we go, man? Like the phone calls.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, what were your thoughts on all the phone calls?
I love them, and it was also the hardest to believe.
Yeah.
So the phone calls were very disturbing.
Right.
And I will give you, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit in my review.
Please.
And talk about the music.
Oh, okay.
And there's a reason. So Carl Zittrer did the very, I guess, it was very subtle, the score to this movie.
I agree. I have that note. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep.
And it worked. It was like, it was quiet, ominous piano.
Right.
At times. So Waxwork Records set out to release a soundtrack to this movie. And the score is so dissonant that it would be very hard to create a soundtrack to this album. Wow. So what they did is each side, if you will, or to each track, there's 2 tracks in the score, and each one is about 13 minutes long or so.
Okay.
And it's more of a soundscape.
Huh.
And when you listen to it, you hear not only the music that Carl composed, you also hear sounds from the movie, and that pretty much includes every crank call that the killer makes.
Oh my gosh.
And I guess we can call the killer Billy, right?
Yep, it was Billy.
Oh man.
And Agnes.
Well, Billy's talking about Agnes.
I know.
And that's something that Bob Clark mentioned in the commentary, that if you listen to the calls back to back, it tells a story in a way. Where Billy killed his younger sister, I think named Agnes, probably.
Yeah, probably.
I didn't totally get it, but there is a story there.
Huh.
So yeah, all these calls are in this soundtrack. And I listened to it at work one time, and I decided, I'm not going to put that in my library.
Right. Oh my God.
I'm not creeped out easily, but that would creep me out if that just suddenly came on. Well,
yeah. I mean, just that first phone call, that initial one that we hear anyway, it's just like, whoa. I was kind of, I guess 1974, but still, like, he was saying some stuff where I just went, whoa, that's hardcore.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking, especially in 1974.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that the 70s had some very raw horror when it came to movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I knew this was a thriller, a horror movie going in, but when he started saying those obscenities on the first crank call, I was a little shocked.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't imagine your innocent ears.
Stop it.
I was thinking that the whole time. I'm like, poor Andrew.
Oh, stop.
No. Yeah, those calls were nuts.
Yeah. They were crazy. And all of them were like that. I mean, they just were.
Yeah.
Although there was one where he says, "I love you," or something, and it reminded me so much of Tourist Trap. I was a little bit excited about it. Just like, oh.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's cute.
Yeah. Anyway.
I did not hear Tourist Trap in there.
No?
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't hear it. I did hear I did hear The Exorcist.
Oh, okay.
Some of the calls reminded me of The Exorcist because there's a voice that Reagan has when the devil is speaking through her.
Right. Yep.
And it's this voice of Pazuzu. And some of the voices on the phone calls in Black Christmas sounded very similar to me.
Huh.
I don't know if that was on purpose. Bob Clark didn't mention it.
Okay.
But so I loved the phone calls.
Yeah.
I loved how creepy they were.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, you know pretty early in the movie that he's making these calls from inside the house.
Right. Yes.
And there were some times, first of all, he was using all these different voices that sounded like somebody making a edited recording.
Yeah, totally.
Of his voice, using different voices, but all cut together. And I knew that wasn't supposed to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
He was just supposed to be on a phone.
Right. I completely agree. Yep.
Yeah. And also, he was raising his voice quite a bit.
Yes. Yep.
On those calls.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, he's going like that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I really feel like they'd be able to hear somebody upstairs yelling into a phone like that.
I thought the same thing, man.
But that's the one thing I did. I had to give the movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain bit of disbelief. That was a hard one.
Right.
But I was like, okay, so for whatever reason, they can't hear him. Maybe the door to the room he's in, which is the head mistress of the sorority house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever the lady.
Miss Mac.
Yeah, Mrs. Mac.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you call Mrs. Mac.
Oh yeah. Sorority. I don't even know.
Yeah, she's like the keeper of the sorority house.
Yeah.
She's like their matron, or what have you. The alcoholic Mrs. Mac.
Yeah, boy, she likes her alcohol.
Yeah, that was pretty comedic. But anyway, he's supposed to be doing it from her room because that's the only private phone in the sorority house.
Yep.
And yeah, that was okay. That was it. But that's it.
Yep. Yeah.
The rest of it I totally bought. Even the things I didn't completely agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, near the end of the movie, when the cop is telling Jess to get out of the sorority house,
Right.
I know there's probably a lot of people that watch this movie and say, why don't you just leave?
Right.
Get out. But then she goes upstairs. But that's her personality.
Agreed.
She wants to make sure her friends are okay.
Yep.
And they're not. They're dead.
Yeah. They are all dead. But I had that same thought too, is because I actually paused it and thought, okay, I'm her. What do I do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think I would have done what she did. I mean, if I knew you were upstairs, I'm going to run and grab you, Scotty. Like, I'm going to make sure you're okay.
Ah, Andrew, you're such a sweet summer child.
Well, thanks. But I agree though. I mean, that was realistic to me. I mean, she likes her. Obviously,
her.
She wants to make her friends, make sure they're safe. So I totally agree with that.
Now me,
Yeah.
So here's the thing: she yelled up the stairs.
Right.
She yelled up for Barb and Phil.
That's true.
The two
You're right.
friends that are supposed to be there. They did not answer her. If I'm in that house and I yell up for you, Andrew, and you don't answer me, you don't say help or anything like that, I love you, buddy, but I'm going to assume you're dead, and I'm getting out of there. I'm like, I hope Andrew's still alive, but I think he's dead. I'm getting out of this house, and I'm going to let the cops deal with this. That's what
fair.
I'm doing, man.
Hey, you know what? That's fair. I get that.
So I'm going to give it to Jess for her character to check on her friends. But
Right.
me, I'm going outside.
That's fair. To go, yeah, and it makes sense too, because there was that cop out there, and I don't think she knew that he was dead at the time, which would also make sense. I'm run out and grab the police officer. So yeah,
that's a really good point.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I'm going out to that cop.
Right. Right.
And then getting horrified finding his throat slashed.
Yeah.
But man, what wonderful misdirection there.
Yeah.
Because in your heart of hearts, you know the killer is not Peter.
Right.
But they show Peter waiting outside. There's the other part where Peter is actually there.
Mm-hmm.
She gets the crank call, and after she hangs up, Peter comes from downstairs.
Right.
And as an audience, you're thinking, oh, well, whoa.
Right.
But they were, I think for me, it was just that they were pushing so hard for the misdirection.
Agreed.
That I knew it couldn't be Peter.
Well, and I thought it was going to be someone else.
Who'd you think it was going to be?
Well, okay. So throughout the whole thing, we know his name's Billy. He says it on the phone, or he does the whole Billy and Agnes thing.
Yeah.
Later on, when the police officer comes, the amazing and great John Saxon, and he brings that telephone guy. Well, the guy says, "Hey, I'm Bill Graham," and I go, "Bill."
Oh, wow.
And I go, "Oh, there we go. I just figured out who the killer was." I was wrong.
Very nice.
But that was my initial thought. I went, "Oh, Billy, got it. That's him." And he's going to mess with the phone, which makes it even better. So I totally was on board with him being the killer.
Well, did you just poo-poo that idea as soon as you saw him trying to trace the call?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was, at first I was like, got it. I know it's not Peter, so it's got to be this guy. But, yeah, I was wrong. It is nobody we know.
Nobody we know.
Yeah.
Also, I love the tracing calls thing. Like, it was so
awesome.
much harder to do in 1974 than it would be today.
Totally.
And it took me a moment to figure out, what is this guy doing? He's just running all over this room. But then I realized, wow, that's how they traced calls back then. Like, they actually traced the line.
Right. Yep.
Until they got to the phone. And all the phones are represented in this huge room. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. 1974, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Yeah. Oh, so cool. And
What
I
else
love.
did I like? So I like the. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I just love that moment later too, where they're like, when they figure out where the call's coming from, and that line of when the cop calls John Saxon and says, "Oh, the call's coming from that place," and he's like, "You idiot, that's the house." He said, "Yeah, it's coming from in the house." It's like, ooh, that's good.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Even though I was waiting for that to happen.
Right. Yep.
It's
Still cool.
coming from inside the house.
Right.
I love John Saxon in this movie.
Oh, he's awesome.
I like him a lot in anything, but I really, really his character.
Mm-hmm.
His character, I think, was just so much of a relief, and I love the dichotomy of him and, let's say, the other officer,
Right.
Sergeant Nash,
Yeah.
who was at the front desk, and he was the kind of, I guess, I wouldn't say bumbling, but yeah, kind of the bumbling cop that's just, okay, yeah, what do you want now?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And then you have John Saxon come in, who takes everything seriously, and it was such a relief to see one of the cops, if not more, him and his assistant cop, taking it seriously.
Right.
Because in so many of these movies, we see no cops taking the matter seriously.
Yep.
And at first, I thought that was going to be the case completely. But then, yeah, it was really nice to see him taking it seriously and actually trying to help and trying to figure this out. And working late, it seemed like, too.
I looked at the clock because I thought that exact same thing, and I think it was 8:30 or 9, if I remember right. So he was there late.
Not that late, though. I thought it was like near midnight.
Well, that was only after like the first call. It goes on quite a bit that night, and he's still there. So, but yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, boy, he's staying a while.
Yeah. He was working that case, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. Mr. Harrison, Claire's dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was great.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt so sad for him.
Me too.
And that was the whole thing about the movie. The creepiest part of the movie is that their friend is dead upstairs in the attic and they have no idea.
And they still don't know at the end.
Yeah. And you can see her through the window.
With the plastic bag over her face.
Oh my gosh. That was so creepy.
It was. And Mrs. Mack in the background hanging from the hook.
Yeah.
Just like, oh man, what a house of horrors.
Yeah. And Claude the cat.
Oh, yeah.
Claude the cat. Yeah. I felt sad for the cat. You know me, cat person.
I know, poor Claude.
But funny enough, I didn't realize this, but Bob Clark even mentioned another thing he mentioned in the commentary, that Billy is actually at times making those cat noises.
Ah.
To try and attract people up to him,
Oh my
I guess.
gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, but I felt like I really honestly felt empathy towards Mr. Harrison because he's just coming to see his daughter, and it's the way he's introduced is so good.
Yeah, with the snowball to
because
the
he
face.
just seems like a snobby adult
Right, yeah.
in this world of college-age kids.
Mm-hmm.
But then he just turns out to be a really nice guy, and he's part of the reason that the cops continue to help because he's in there.
Right.
He's in there helping, and I really liked his character, but I felt so sad for him.
Me too. And I love
I was
that
like-
scene too where, what's the dumb officer? I'm totally drawing a blank on his name.
Nash.
Nash, thank you. Where Nash is on the phone and he says, "Get prank calls, lady," and then he mentions the address, and you see the dad perk up, realizing
Yeah.
that that's the sorority house. I thought that was a great scene where he just goes and listens and basically tells on Nash.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Great, really good character.
Mhm.
I mean, nothing much came of his character at the end,
Right.
but
Yeah.
just his presence was a really, really good character in the movie.
Yep.
The other thing I really, really loved about this movie, and I honestly didn't really notice this until my second time watching it.
Mm-hmm.
There was this constant room tone or exterior tone to this entire movie.
Really?
When you're watching it, and I don't know if it's just the age of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like some of it was on purpose. But yeah, when they're inside, there's just this dry room tone that's just kind of always there in the background. And when they're outside, there's this constant wind blowing sound effect.
I did catch that. That I did catch.
Yeah, because you hear it at the end, I believe.
Yep.
I think you hear it at the end as the camera's panning away from the window, and you hear the phone ringing.
Yep. Yes. Yep.
Because Billy always calls after he kills somebody. Man. Which is also creepy because and that's so sad at the end because you know that he probably just killed Jess.
Yep. Oh,
Because
that's
they
good.
leave her
Yeah.
alone in the room, which you hate, but it makes total sense.
Yep.
Oh, that's Mr. Harrison. That's Mr. Harrison at the end. That's his purpose. Because he faints in the room.
Oh, right. Yep. And everyone
that's what
leaves.
gets. Yeah, everyone leaves because they think the killer's been not caught, but they think the killer's dead.
Right.
And they go to tend to Mr. Harrison. Claire's going to be sleeping, or Jess is going to be sleeping through the night. So yeah, the phone ringing at the end is kind of alluding to maybe Billy killed Jess, which is really sad.
It is sad.
What a good movie, man.
It really was. Like I said, just thinking about it. Like I woke up this morning thinking about it, and I went, okay, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think the thing that got me at first, or what, it wasn't that I didn't like it. It wasn't what I was expecting. I guess would be the way. Because like we said, it's almost a thriller, which I going into it was not thinking that at all.
Okay.
And with thrillers, I feel like a lot of times, compared to a slasher, depending on the movie, are a little bit slower in the action, just because we're getting a little more character development.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I think with I almost thought it was slow at parts, but it really wasn't. It was just building characters. And so I think that's what got me. Just after it was done, I was like, well, that was just kind of, it was good. It was fine, but it was just kind of slow. And then once I started realizing or kind of putting everything together and going, oh, that character was interesting, or that character, and then I went, oh, duh, okay. It was more, it had thriller elements. And I think, I don't know, it just helped me like it
that
more.
makes complete sense. And that's, this is a callback to one of our earlier episodes, but the way you felt the first time watching that, Black Christmas, that's pretty much how I felt when I saw The Changeling.
Ah, okay.
Because The Changeling is a haunted house movie, but it's also a mystery.
You're absolutely right. Yep.
And so I wasn't prepared for that mystery. Black Christmas, I also wasn't prepared, but I think I was just more ready for it.
Right.
But I was also just surprised at how effective some of the moments in this movie were.
Right.
So, great movie.
It was. And I love, too, that most of the movie took place in that house. And that house, as, even though it's a sorority house, it's kind of fun, just knowing that there's a killer there just made that house ominous through the whole movie. It just is creepy, and I love that majority of it takes place there. It just made it so eerie, that whole movie.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
It's almost like a haunted house, except it's haunted by a real person.
Yeah.
And he's just there all the time.
Right. Oh, my gosh.
He enters the house at the beginning of the movie, and then he's just there.
Yeah.
And every time any of the characters is inside that sorority house, you have this knowledge that the killer is right upstairs.
Yeah.
And it just, And the fact that it takes place around Christmas, man, that was creepy too.
Yep. This time that's supposed to be fun and exciting and love and joy is just eerie. It's just replaced by creepiness.
And they play Silent Night, and it just has the creepiest undertone to it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, what a movie.
It is. Agreed.
Anything else?
Honestly, those were my notes. So if you'd like, should we jump into the 3 questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
There is one other thing I do want to mention, though.
Oh, please,
And this is something for you and me, big nerds.
Yep.
I looked up Olivia Hussey,
okay,
who played Jess,
right.
because she was so wonderful in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And she has been doing acting and voice acting for a very long time.
Awesome.
And she has played Talia al Ghul
What?
in Batman animated series cartoons.
That's awesome.
Right?
Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
The other thing is I need to go back and watch it. This is a completely other story, but the old Stephen King's It TV miniseries with Tim Curry.
Yep.
Bill Denbrough was played, I believe, by Richard Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And she plays his wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I need to go back and look at that.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
So, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I just wanted to mention that. But yeah, now we can move on to our 3 questions.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
All right. So question number 1, man. This will be an interesting one, but what of this movie, what was your favorite kill?
Well, yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
And I like the precedent you set last week with your favorite kill/death for Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
We can cheat a little?
Yeah, a little bit, because a lot of the kills in this movie don't happen on camera.
Right. You're right.
They start to happen, and then the camera cuts away to somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
The only kill you kind of see happen is Margot Kidder's,
Yes.
or Barb.
With the unicorn.
Yeah, the unicorn, and it's also the famous shot that's on the front of the Blu-ray movie case with his eye.
Oh,
Like
right.
you see his eye in the light.
Yep.
But I got to go with Claire.
Mm-hmm.
She's the first kill. Off camera, he suffocates her with the plastic. You see him start, running or coming at her with the plastic.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next time you see her, she's just always in that damn rocking chair.
Yeah.
With the plastic over her face. And just constantly right next to that window where somebody, if they looked close enough, they could see, but nobody looks.
Yep.
And that was just so creepy and eerie to me that she gets best kill / death for me in Black Christmas.
Oh, love it. Yep.
What about you?
That's her name is written down in my notebook. Same thing where again we don't see it, but every shot that we see of her sitting in that rocking chair with the plastic over her face, but not only that her eyes are open the entire time is so horrifying. And just like, I don't know, it's just a creepy shot anytime we see her in that chair. So for that, I agree. She definitely gets best kill / death.
Yeah, and I mean, props go to Lynn Griffin, who played Claire.
Mm.
It didn't even hit me until right now
Yeah.
that she was playing Claire every single time she was dead, and I bought it.
Yeah. Yep.
She played a really good dead girl.
Yeah. You're right.
I know it's morbid to say, but she did a great job.
It's true. Yeah. Ugh. Okay. Well, then, would question number 2, man? Was this movie scary?
Okay, so it didn't.
Yeah.
In a way, it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was disturbing. It was bleak. It was creepy.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really bother me after it was over, but when it immediately ended, I was left with this just
Yeah. Yep.
like this bleak feeling. It was very effective.
Mhm.
It's a feeling I've had with a few other movies. Most notably, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, left me with that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Where it didn't really scare me, but after the movie was over, I just felt bleak.
Yeah.
And that was it though. But the crank calls were very creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Claire in the attic was very creepy. The killer being in the attic. I can't imagine how scary this movie must have been in 1974.
For real. Yeah.
It's one of those things I would love to go back to a movie theater where this was playing and see how people reacted after it.
Absolutely. Ugh.
What about you?
We're gonna have the same answers, man. Same. I mean, it was more of a creep factor for me, and I had that same feeling as well. Now that I think about it, of just kind of that bleakness. The other movie I can think of is Texas Chainsaw, where after I just kind of went,
good one.
ugh, I don't feel good. Like I don't feel any joy right now. I just feel gross.
But that's why I say bleak.
Right, exactly.
Because I didn't feel gross after this movie.
Oh, fair. Okay.
Like
yeah.
Texas Chainsaw, yeah. Oh,
Right.
You feel dirty.
Yeah. Yeah.
You feel grimy.
Yeah.
This movie, no, I just felt bleak.
Yeah. You're right.
Like there was no hope
Yep. Agreed. So.
in anything.
Agreed. Yep.
Ever
So
again.
not necessarily super scary, but just creepy, eerie, and bleak. That's a great word.
Yeah.
Well, the last one I think I know, but did you, Scotty, have fun with horror?
Well, that's a weird question for this movie.
Right.
Because this movie I wouldn't say is fun.
You're right.
There are horror movies and even bleak horror movies, and you just mentioned Texas Chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
Parts I did have fun watching them, but this
Right.
movie, in ways, let's just put it this way: I love this movie.
Right.
This was a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go so far as to say I think it's one of the best movies that I think we've covered on the podcast thus far.
Wow, that's high praise.
In my opinion. Asking if I had fun with it, only a little.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very glad we watched it. I wouldn't call this movie a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because it is a very, the phone calls, they're kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So there are fun elements to this movie, but overall, I just think it's a really good movie, and I think anybody who hasn't seen it should watch it.
Agreed. Absolutely.
When they're 1 year old.
Yep. For their birthdays.
Did you have fun with horror?
Well, now that you put it like that, I would agree. I mean, it's a great movie. It's not, because it's so bleak, it isn't quote unquote fun, but if we were rating it or we were recommending it, this is 100%. I would recommend this to anybody. Absolutely. It's a great, great film.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch it by yourself?
Yes. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yep. I had to think for a second. Did I? Yeah, I did. Yep. And I had my Christmas tree on and our lights on, and it was dark, and it was nice.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, there you go. That was episode
Black
19
Christmas.
almost. Man, or we're almost done with episode 19 now. That's crazy. Black Christmas.
Yeah, that means, that's episode 19, Black Christmas.
Agnes, it's me, Billy. It's all right, Agnes. It's all right. Shh, pretty Agnes.
And that means, my friend,
Yes.
that the pressure is on. It's square on your shoulders because our next episode is episode 20.
Man.
That's nuts, right?
That is nuts.
I feel like we just did our top 10 horror movies episode.
It really
and that was
feels like
episode
it.
10.
Yeah.
And now we're doing episode 12. Really?
Yeah.
That can't be right.
Oh my gosh. Time flies when
Wow.
you're having fun with horror.
Also, the episode, our next episode is our final episode before Christmas.
You're right.
So,
Again,
Andrew,
no pressure.
what is our movie for episode 20?
Okay. Well, let me throw this out there. Last week, you were like, after we had our podcast, we were chatting just for a sec, and you said, "Hey, did I beat you to Black Christmas?" And I said, "Actually, you didn't. I didn't have that one. However, I did have another one on my list that you mentioned, and that would be here's my pick, man. So it kind of works out, and that's 1984's Silent Night, Deadly Night."
Wow.
was
And
so
that was going to
happy
be
you
your
didn't
pick
pick
either
that one.
way?
What's that?
That was going to be your pick either
Yep.
way?
Yeah, yep. So I was really happy that was not the one you picked last week. But I loved hearing that was one that you wanted as well. So
Here's the real question, Andrew.
yeah.
If I had picked Silent Night, Deadly Night, would you have picked Black Christmas?
I may have. Because I would have definitely picked something Christmassy. There was
All right, so-
I may have.
Okay.
I was gonna say something else, but I'm not gonna say it because it may be picked another time.
And maybe Marty and Doc Brown will come by and take us back, and I'll make a different choice, and we'll see what happens.
Yep. Let's see. We'll do another timeline. But yes. And for anyone that does want to watch Silent Night, Deadly Night, you can rent it on all the places: Amazon, YouTube, Apple. But it is free on Tubi. So, and a Tubi account is free. So, if you are wanting to watch it and don't want to spend any money, check out Tubi.
So it's not on Shudder or anything?
It's not that I have on my app. So,
No, crazy.
I know.
You'd think Shudder would have it, but that's interesting.
Well, they just got a bunch of them. It was like Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, 3, and 4. Not the original. Super weird.
Super weird.
But, yeah. So that's my pick, man, for next week. So I wanted a Christmas movie for sure for our final episode before Christmas. So there you go.
Well, obviously, I'm excited.
Me too, man.
You know, I'm looking forward to watching that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That'll be fun.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. Sorry, I just looked up on Shudder, and strangely enough, Shudder has Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 through 5.
Yeah.
But they don't have 1, which is strange.
And I'm wondering, I never understand why companies do that, and if there's rights or someone else has it, or I don't really know.
Yeah, it's contracts and all that. But yeah, awesome. I can't wait to watch this.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think this will be I hope so. I hope it'll be fun.
Oh, it will be fun. Well, yeah, you're right.
Right. No, it'll be a good time.
Just the fact that we're doing it is fun.
Right, exactly. There you go.
And also a quick little look ahead.
Yeah.
So yeah, next week we'll be talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Mm-hmm.
The week after that, I will make a pick, but the week after that is going to be our year-end episode.
Yes.
And it's going to be a little bit of a longer episode because we're going to cover a movie, but we're also going to talk about some movies. We're going to do our year-end special. We're going to talk about movies we saw, and all of this is horror movies.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about our favorite movies that we saw that were released this year, and our favorite movies that were released before this year that we saw for the first time this past year, and even talk about what we're looking forward to seeing next year.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
So, yeah, that's going to be a great episode. I'm looking forward to it. But before that, yeah, I'm really looking forward to our Silent Night, Deadly Night episode.
Yeah, man. 10 years after Black Christmas. So
Good choice, man. Good choice.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Also, before we go, I would like to mention that we have a YouTube channel.
Yay!
And I mean, it's fun. It's kind of not that big a deal, but at the same time, it is. But we're obviously, we live in different states, so it's not easy for us to record ourselves
Right.
on video while we do this podcast. But I know some friends and others who have their podcast on YouTube with just a static image, which is what we have. And it's a different just a variation on the same image for every different episode.
Yeah.
So we are in the process of putting those up. I'm not sure how many will be up by the time this episode is out. But yeah, go look up Fun with Horror Podcast on YouTube. And please subscribe to our channel, like the videos. It'll help. Every little bit helps if you're enjoying the show.
Yeah. Thank you for setting that up, man. You're awesome. That's great.
Oh, well, thank you for recording every episode and editing them. And come on, man.
Well, thank you for just being you.
Oh, I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
Bye. All right, buddy.
Yeah.
You have a wonderful week.
You as well. Always fun. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
And we'll see you next week with Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Boom.
Bye.
Bye.
What is it?
A phone company's on the other line, sir. They say they got a trace on this one.
Yeah, let's have it.
He says the calls are coming from number 6 Belmont Street.
Nah, she got it wrong. That's where the calls are going into.
That's where they're coming from, too, sir.